Welcome back, folks, to another episode of College Baseball Live on Saturday morning here. Got the full crew, man. Just happy to have everybody here today. Jared Perkins is back. Well, how we doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Fantastic, man. We had so many good games last night. Will Massa here with us as well. How we doing, Will?
I'm so happy Jared is back.
It's great. I mean, we have the full crew here, and we got Jason Ratcliffe from 6-4 Analytics coming on again as the guest picker, just killing us. How we doing, Jason?
Doing good. If I will say, I feel like we need a guest shout out from Jared's twins. I don't know if they're available for.
They are sleeping, and I'm not doing that.
They're not camera ready. Not camera ready. Okay,
they are sleeping, and I'm not interrupting that sleep. That's for sure.
We don't want to wake them up during nap time. We want them to relax, get that sleep in. Yeah, as much sleep as they can. I love it, man. Guys, walk-offs all night, just chaos all over the board. Fantastic games. Opening of SEC. Really couldn't ask for anything else from a college baseball night. Let's start off with the biggest one probably of the night, Mississippi State and Arkansas. Ryder Woodson goes out, hits that 2-run home run to tie it in the ninth with 2 outs, and you're going, oh, man, here it is. Now they're going to make that train and come all the way back. TJ Pompey hits that walk-off bomb in the bottom of the ninth there. You know, he's been struggling. It had to have just feel like this huge weight lifted off his back. Jason, big feels there. I mean, still only 7 hits and 10 more strikeouts for Arkansas, but at least they got the win. They got the dub last night.
Yeah, I think they did 2 things that they haven't done in the past. One, they capitalized on opportunities. So, I mean, I think they scored, 5 runs in that game? They may only have had 6 runners get to third. Pretty much every runner that got to third.
They only left scored. 3 on base.
Yeah, like don't quote me on that number, but that's kind of what it felt like. In the past, it feels like they left a lot of ducks on the pond, and it was almost inverse. I think Mississippi State had 12 guys that they left on base. So, I mean, we always talk about expected WOBA. Like, hey, how hard did you hit it? What was your angle? Things like that. I think if you were to look at it from an ex-WOBA expectation, I think you'd say, hey, how did Mississippi State not win that game? And Gackle was okay. I think he had a 1-something whip. He really didn't strike out a lot of guys. He got hit pretty hard, but the defense – even though it didn't look fantastic, they got it done. I don't know if y'all saw Kahio Aloy in the first drop. Legitimately, if you were to look at can of corn, that's what that was, but he unfortunately dropped it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they had to change around some things because the left side of that infield has just been rough. Brumbaugh and Pompey combined have an OPS that's below Georgia's team average. So they had to switch some things up. So you saw Rutenbar at first and Robinette at third. I'm getting long-winded here, but ultimately the best way to put it is I think that Arkansas did the small things, and I think Mississippi State left some meat on the bone. And Arkansas won. I mean, it's a game where you can win all of the little mini battles in between, but if you don't win the battle on the scoreboard, you lose the game. And that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, and it was huge. I mean, honestly, for Arkansas fans to go out there, you felt the crowd get pulled out of it a little bit when that home run from Woodson happened, and you're like, oh, the crowd just sits back down and the heads start ducking, and then Pompey hits that home run and he hammered it, no doubter, dead center. He smoked that ball, and you just felt like, oh man, maybe this pushes them to win the rest of the weekend. Maybe they start to figure things out offensively. Maybe they turn it around.
Yeah, it's a doubleheader today, which will be difficult.
It's in favor of Arkansas.
7 innings, then, I'm assuming.
No, they got rid of
full 9.
Full 9. Good.
They got rid of the 7-inning thing this year, which is nice. So I think Miss State used 5 or 6 pitchers. I can't remember. Arkansas only used 2. So Arkansas has pretty good depth. So I think if you're talking about McPherson is he was incredible. I think it was in the 8th or so. They had 10 Ks and no walks. I mean, again, if you were to just get rid of the score, Mississippi State basically doubled them up in hits. They had a crazy K per walk. I mean, there was a number of things. I mean, Reese Reese probably had 6, 7 guys left on base by himself.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that one of the best players in the country, basically, I know he was up with the bases loaded, nothing happened. I think he was up with guys on second and third. He grounded out to first. So again, like you play that game in a vacuum again. Mississippi State probably has a, but you don't. You just play what happens, and you have to give kudos to this. This kind of felt like a 2016, 2017 type of Dave team, to where it's not like you've got like goons up there. I mean, they have good players, but it felt like they grinded it. They played the small ball. They got their sacrifices. They moved guys over. They got the 4-3 putouts with guys on third. Like they did a number of things that got guys across the plate, and then they made plays when they had to.
Yeah, it was a big win for Arkansas is what it comes down to. And the doubleheader today sets in favor with using less pitching. The fact of the matter is it's hard to win 2 games of any doubleheader. So, and you get them at home. I think that sets up very well for Arkansas today.
Mississippi State, you should feel okay though. You have Valencia.
Yeah, it's not a bad loss for them.
They were talking about how to pronounce his name on the telecast last night. It's Valencius, which I would never have thought. But yeah, so he's coming in, and he's probably one of the best lefties in the country. And Arkansas's best hitters right now are lefties. So I would, if I was Mississippi State, I'd still be feeling pretty good about game 1. And then it's like, okay, can we get to that rubber and try to steal 2-1 when you lost game 1?
Absolutely. Let's move on to LSU and Vanderbilt. LSU 12, Vanderbilt 13. LSU scores 5 in the 8th there to take the lead 12-10, and we're all like, okay, there it is. They were down all game. They had looked horrible. They're giving up way too many walks, way too many hits as a pitching staff, and you're like, okay, they got there. They got the Gavin Guidry. They're going to shut this thing down. He looked great in the 8th, and then in the 9th inning, Vanderbilt comes storming back. Logan Johnston, the Washington State transfer, has his 6th home run of the season. It's a walk-off bomb. That ball was hammered. Huge win for Vanderbilt coming from behind. Like they were ahead all game. It like felt like that. And then when they gave up the lead, it's like, oh man, don't let this happen. And then they come back and win this thing. And LSU fans just got to be reeling this morning.
Yeah, I mean, heading into the back half of the game, it felt like, they just got to put it away. It felt like it was put away. And this game was just kind of gross, to be honest with you. 21 combined walks. The starting pitchers allowed 13 runs, which is not characteristic of Connor Fennell and Kason Evans. Like, what a bizarre outing for both of them. And then, of course,
wild
you get the
pitches
fireworks
galore as well.
No catcher could catch the ball. Like it felt like it was just chaos.
Yeah, it was such a weird game just from the jump. I mean, the walks alone, and for these two pitching staffs to combine and I know Vanderbilt is prone to the walk this year. They are walking a decent amount of guys on the mound, but the whiff rate has been really good for them. The strikeouts have been up, and both pitching staffs did that. It was like a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks. And then, of course, a lot of long balls. Like Vanderbilt ended up getting it done late. Johnstone had 2 home runs. He had the 1 home run, the walk-off, 2 RBI yesterday. A really solid game across but this was just a madness game. Like it wasn't pretty at all, but one of those games, like vintage college baseball game right here. Really fun one to watch, but not pretty on paper by any means. But at the end of it, you're like, wow, that was a fun one. I genuinely do not know what is going to be in store for the rest of this series because both teams used a lot of pitchers yesterday. Maybe not an incredible amount of pitches. I know Vanderbilt threw 5 guys yesterday. All of them threw over 20 pitches, so got a lot of guys available, but you used a lot of guys, and I think that it goes for both staff. So I'm curious to see how this one works out, and this is if this is how the series is going to go, this is going to be a wild one the rest of the weekend, but a very bizarre Friday night. I think most people would have agreed this was going to be a low-scoring game coming into it, especially with Fennell on the mound and with how good the strikeout stuff has been for Vanderbilt's pitching staff, and was not that very far from it.
Yeah, and for a high-scoring game, it wasn't necessarily offensively driven, right? Like Jared, I mean, that wasn't offense. That was walks and wild pitches and errors. And
LSU walked like 7 guys in the 4th.
11 total walks on the day for LSU.
In 1 inning, they walked 7 guys.
Yeah,
what was it? Williams came in. He didn't get out. He just walked 3 straight guys. And like, all right, we're going to Newt. Like, rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
I think for me, the one question I kind of came away with is like, how long of a leash do you give Kason Evans as the Friday night guy for LSU? I mean, he hasn't really looked good all year. I mean, he's had a couple of starts where he's given up 2 earned over 5 innings, but I mean, he hasn't had a game except for outside of one where he's had less than 3 or 2 walks. So like the command hasn't quite been there. And Will, we talked about it against the first game against Milwaukee at the start of the season. He didn't even look good against a UW Milwaukee team. And he gives up 6 earned in this one. He walks 5. Like I just don't know how long of a leash you give him here, especially as you get deeper into SEC play.
But yeah, the theory is like, who do you go to?
Yeah, who else do you go to?
Williams was probably the next. I mean, that's why they brought him in the second or third or no fourth. They brought him
fourth
in
inning.
So he's kind of like your long relief guy. So like if that's in theory, your long relief guy is probably the guy that you're thinking maybe, hey, this could be our next starter. And he had the exact same issues. Their pitching staff as a whole right now is just not really throwing it over the strike zone.
No,
your
they're
offense
not throwing
isn't
enough
backing
strikes.
it up, really.
Yeah. No. Nope. And I mean, this is something we talked about all offseason. It's like, hey, yeah, these guys may have had small successes in the previous year, but it's hard to be stepping into that role on Friday and Saturday and being the dude here. It's not really paying off yet, but there's lots of baseball left for LSU fans. So maybe they'll figure something out. They're going to have to shuffle some things around, but it didn't look pretty last night. Just the one home run from Jake Brown, who's been on fire, who's really been the driving force for this team.
I mean, they're what like 13-6 now. Could you imagine what they would be without Jake Brown, who's having
they'd be
quite
legitimately,
he's pushing for SEC Player of the Year right now. He really is.
Yeah.
And he's on a tear.
On the Vanderbilt side, though, I feel like this still leads me to the question of like, what is Vanderbilt? Because they have these like flashes of like success, but then they look awful at other times, and I'm just like, I don't know what this team is. And I guess we'll figure it out deeper into SEC play. But it's just like they've looked really good, and then they've just like looked terrible. They didn't look great in this game.
That's how they were last year too, though. I feel like I had that question in like mid-April of like, what is Vanderbilt? And then they were the number 1 seed, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess.
And then get bounced out of the regional.
And then, get knocked out of regional. So
I'm not sure we'll ever answer that question.
Lots of inconsistencies with both of those teams last night, and we're going to see a little bit more probably this weekend. Love to see one of these teams step up and actually be a good baseball team, but I don't know if either one of those teams is actually going to be a very good baseball team. They're both good baseball teams. Don't get me wrong. They're both good SEC teams. I don't know if either one of them is going to be very good or great by the end of the season.
They'll be inconsistent. I think in order to be a host, 18 is usually that magic number, 18 and 12 in the SEC. I think it'll be hard for both of them to get to 18 and 12 just because I think the SEC is a little deeper. I don't see Missouri going 3-27 again after what they did yesterday. Yeah. So I think the spread between the league isn't as wide as it was last year.
Not top heavy.
So I think it's a fool's bet to say, hey, LSU won't get to 18 wins in the SEC. But right now it looks like a very inconsistent team that will have a difficult time doing that.
So we're going to go from lots of runs to almost no runs here. South Carolina 0, Florida 1. Really good pitching performances. 3 hits total, guys, in 10 innings of baseball. 3 hits total, 2 for Florida, 1 for South Carolina. It took till the 10th. Kyle Jones hits that double to start it off for Florida. Some walks, some intentional walks, moving him around with the bunt, and then a sac fly there from Stryer. Not really great performance offensively from either team, obviously, with 3 hits total. Really good pitching, but it's a walk-off win still for Florida in the 10th. Jared, you'll take it if you're Florida, but it didn't look very pretty. I mean, Liam Peterson was good, but that doesn't lead you to anything.
The offense didn't show up, but like if you're going to have a Florida team that's going to be good, you need Liam Peterson doing exactly what he did last night, right? Doing 6 innings, 10 Ks, 1 hit, no runs. And then we talked about it, the South Carolina team that's not been very good this year, but if you're going to need a guy that's going to need to step up in the SEC to go along with Aiden King, you need Liam Peterson to showcase that he is that Friday night guy. And he did it last night. The stuff was absolutely disgusting. And he was just living in the strike zone. He was getting guys out. You need more from the offense. Like you said, they got 1 hit during, or what they get 2 hits? Yeah.
They got 2. They got one of the hits was in the 10th.
Yeah. And it's like, great. They had a bunch of walks, but that doesn't help you get runs. So you needed some of those run producers to step up. And you have an offer from your basically 3 through 5 part of your lineup, or 2 through 5 part of your lineup. it's not going to get things done. But I mean, you still have to be happy if you're Florida to come away with a win here and to see what you saw out of Liam Peterson. I think that's the big takeaway for you. You got to hope the offense steps up the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot more here for Florida, but a win is a win. And in the SEC, piling up those wins matter. I mean, you got to go out there and go win baseball games. Case in point, our next one here, Ole Miss at Texas. Ole Miss wins this one 9-8. Texas had this game. It felt like it was over after that Pack Jr. home run, in the 8th. He hits that 3-run bomb, and you're like, okay, that's it. They got the lead. They're going into the 9th inning here. They're set. Ugly 9th inning for Texas. Couple walks, a hit by pitch, a ground ball that kind of bumps in a run, and then the grand slam there from Becerra. Jason, this was absolute chaos. Like, the fact of the matter is, when you just allow those things, when the pitching staff for Texas hasn't done that all season, and then it just melted down there in the 9th.
Yeah, for me, I have a couple of thoughts on this one. One, I think this was probably the best game of the night. I mean, I know there were a lot of really good games. I think Texas had like 7 hit bats plus walks from the 9th forward. Like, you can't do that. You just
too many
can't
free
do that.
passes.
But if Hunter Elliott, I mean, I think he had like 3 or 4 walks as well in the first few innings, but I think he also struck out the first 6 guys. If Hunter Elliott is that Hunter Elliott versus that offense, Ole Miss is going to win a lot of Fridays in the SEC because the Ole Miss lineup is legit.
Yeah.
So if they're able to get that Hunter Elliott versus that type of offense, Ole Miss is going to be really good this year. Really good. How good? I don't know, but it didn't surprise me that they won this game. They took Southern Miss to the 9th, and Southern Miss had to bring in their closer for the last 2 innings, and they were probably thinking, we'll be okay versus Arkansas State. Well, maybe not. So I think you look at it and you say, okay, Texas, we gave up too much, but we also played a really good game, and we went up against a good pitcher. We did pretty well. I mean, really, for me, I'm what I'm taking away from this is both teams are going to be good. That's probably my biggest takeaway. Not that, hey, Texas, like you weren't for real, the 17-0 or whatever. Oh, like that was all of a sudden. No, I just think Ole Miss is good. Yeah. And I think that, again, they'll be able to turn around, and you learn from your mistakes. And unfortunately, putting 7 guys on either by hits, and I mean, some of them weren't even close. No. Like, it wasn't like hey, like check TrackMan, see if that was no, like they were like buzzing the tower of the hitters. So I mean, it was one of the things that's like, those things happen, and it was a real big swing by Becerra. I posted on Twitter as a Bob Moore-esque. I don't know if you all remember from Robert Moore when he played South Carolina, when he kind of does that little lean and bat toss. That was quite a bat toss by Becerra, but he wasn't thrown out of the game. That was okay. That's an okay bat toss.
Yeah, I don't know how that one was like, we're accepting this one in Texas, in Austin, on the road.
Do we want to transition to Oklahoma A&M?
Yeah. So that was just wild, right? Like a big game there for Ole Miss. I know that our guy Tyler Jennings said, hey, they're going to take one probably from this weekend from Texas, and Texas no longer movement. I don't think any of us thought that this was how it was going to happen on the Friday night like that in the 9th, but a big win for Ole Miss. Let's go to Georgia Tech and Clemson. Georgia Tech has taken the first 2 games of this series already. This is one that we had marked down. This is a top 10 matchup in our books here, where we have Clemson at 9. Georgia Tech has looked like the better team all from the get-go, from the opening punch of this thing. They 10 ran on the opening night on Thursday. They win last night 9-3. Von Lackey stays hot. Jared, I know we talked about this. This Georgia Tech team has just looked better than anybody else in the ACC play so far.
Yeah, and I mean, I think all preseason everybody's talking about how Drew Burress is going to be like the catalyst of this offense. It's been Von Lackey. Like you just mentioned it. Like he's the top 10 pick in the MLB draft. I think I've heard a lot of people talk about how like if they would take Lackey over Burress, and it's not even a question at this point in the MLB draft. And I get it. Like Von Lackey's that athletic. He had that game this week where he played all 8 positions defensively to kind of showcase his athleticism, and the bat has just been incredible. Like he took a massive step last year into from his freshman to his sophomore year, and then this year's just been even better. And so you have a guy like that with all the other pieces like Ken Schmidt, Ryan Zuckerman, all these bats that are just kind of going off. And Drew Burress hasn't even been the biggest run producer on this team. I think he went 0 for 5 last night in that win.
Yeah.
And so like if he gets hot, like this offense is just going to be unstoppable. And we talked about the questions with the pitching staff. You now have Dylan Loy, who's gone out there and showcased that he can be a starter. You've got Tate McKee, who's just been a Friday night ace for this team. And the bullpen's been really good. Like Justin Shattuck and a bunch of these other guys have really
Mason Patel
up.
going back to the bullpen has been a big step for them. If he's going to be good out of the bullpen, it's electric.
Yeah, you have that guy coming out every game, kind of dealing for you. I mean, Mason Patel's been a huge part of this team since last year. So it's just like he comes in and gets you an inning in 2/3 yesterday of no run ball. So you just have to like what you see from Georgia Tech, especially taking it to a Clemson team who we all had, I think, in the top 10. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's a very good Clemson team. Very good Clemson team. Very 100%. Impressive if you're Georgia Tech. Drew Burst did hit the 2 home runs yesterday and then nothing today. Like he's been inconsistent and it hasn't been bad. Like he's still hitting great, but with all the other guys around him right now, they're taking full advantage that they're getting fastballs, that they're getting pitched to. Even if they're pitching a little bit around burst, they're having to pitch to all these other guys. And Vaughn Lackey has been the biggest case of that point. And big night for him again. He's been just on fire, showing his athleticism. It's unbelievable. Then he's probably going to be drafted as a catcher, but he's showing he doesn't have to stay as a catcher at the MLB level. He's good. His bat plays. Like it's not just a defensive catcher with a really good arm and really great behind the plate. He can hit at that next level. And I think that's just showing teams right now that he's definitely a top 10 pick in my opinion.
He gets this comparison all the time, but Kyle Teal, like he's the same kind of type of catcher that Kyle Teal was, super athletic behind the dish, able to hit and rake. And I think Lackey might be a better hitter.
I think he's a better hitter.
He had that really nice pick play in the first where he threw behind the runner. So I mean, I think he's got like a 1700 OPS. He's batting like 500. Like it's crazy silly right now. I think if they can get a little bit more from like Saturday beyond starting pitchers, because I think Loy went like 4.1 and he looked pretty good. But I always like Evan Mike, how he has kind of like a stamp. He like points and says like 1 seed, 2 seed for basketball college. I think you can pretty much stamp Georgia Tech as a top 5 national seed right now.
They're a national seed
easily.
They well, I mean, not just like I think they're going to be top 5. Like you could just call it right now, because the offense, not only do they have power like up like 1 through 9, but they take their walks. Like they're very patient lineup, and so when you have patience mixed with that kind of power, it just really doesn't come along too often. This Georgia Tech team is for real.
Yeah, and the fact is they're going to be able to hit. It's going to be really hard to beat them in a weekend series. Like if you beat them in a weekend series, you're playing very good baseball to beat this team 2 out of 3 at any point in this season.
And that's why I think it was smart
series, but
and that's why it was smart to put Patel in the bullpen, in my opinion.
Yep.
Because if you can have him go twice in a weekend and have one of the best bullpen arms in the country go twice, and then you have a lineup that scores 8 runs a game, it's going to be really hard to lose 2 games in a series.
Yeah, especially if you can have him go on Sundays. If Cooper's struggling, the freshman struggles, then you have him come in. It's like takes this pressure off of him to have to be great on Sundays. Yeah. It's a lot of good things going around there. Let's move to Tennessee and Georgia. Tennessee 7, Georgia 4. Henry Ford, just the catalyst there, Will. 2 for 5 with the 3 runs and 3 RBIs and a bomb. The 4 through 7 hitters for Georgia go 0 for 13 in this game. That's the difference, is that they left all those guys on base. The 1 through 3 guys, they hit. They all had 2 hits each. 4 through 7 just really struggled. Will, is this more of just hey, maybe this is just an aberration for Georgia's hitting that's been on fire lately? Or is this saying, hey, Tennessee's got some arms also?
It's both, quite honestly.
Okay.
Like I don't know how often this season you're going to see the back half of Georgia's lineup go 0 for.
Yeah.
But Tennessee's pitching staff is very solid, especially with their top bullpen arms. I mean, yesterday you got Tegan Coons, you got Brady Frederick. I know he only pitched to 1 batter yesterday, but he is disgusting if you haven't had the opportunity to watch him pitch. And then they went to Arvidsson, who's been really good for them this year.
Really good.
If you ask me what this series would be going into it, this is like the heavyweight matchup. You're power pitching, power lineups. It's conventionally home runs and strikeouts. That's what you're going to get a lot of. And that's kind of what it felt like yesterday. 4 home runs from both sides, a lot of extra base hits, a lot of punch outs. I know Tegan Coons wasn't crazy sharp, but that's a pretty good outing against this lineup. 6 punch outs over 4 2/3. No walks, couple earned runs in there. Joey Volchko, kind of same thing. 8 punch outs over 5 innings. the 4 earned runs, and they went to Justin Bird. So they both used like limited pitching in a pretty high scoring game. I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway, is that both the teams are still loaded in terms of depth. I think you're just going to continue to get high scoring games. Henry Ford was really good yesterday. Daniel Jackson continues to just tear the cover off the baseball. That kid is unbelievable. He stole another base yesterday as well. I believe that brings him to 12 for 12 on the season, along with his, whatever it is, 1,300 OPS. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to see a lot of days where Colby Branch goes 0 for that kind of deal, and Trey Phelps has been unbelievable. But this was just a really good SEC matchup. Like, I think the rest of the series is going to be really good, and it could go either way, really, at this point.
And it's hard to win on the road. It's really hard to win on the road in the SEC, especially. So a big win for Tennessee to go down there and get that win. Talk about another road team. Florida State 10, Wake Forest 0. Miles Bailey in the first hits a 2-run bomb that I'm not sure it's come down yet. This dude is ridiculous, and the rest of that offense just got going as well. Eli Putnam homered twice. Braden Down hit the home run. Like, they had 5 home runs on the day. Wes Mendez, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts. But for me, Jared, the difference was Blake Morningstar had one of those starts that makes us shake our heads again. 4 innings pitched, 9 runs, 9 hits, 3 walks. Like, that is just not going to cut it in ACC play.
No, I mean, you get that from your Friday night ace. So you're worried, I think, the rest of the series, right? It's just like Morningstar has really kind of struggled this year. He's looked good in some flashes, but that's not what you kind of expected from him for the entire year. You expect him to go out there, take the ball every Friday night and kind of deal. And he's going against Wes Mendez, who's been just unhittable all season long. I think he's got an under 1 ERA going into after last night. So he went 7 innings, no runs, 11 Ks. Like, that's just absolutely insane. And you need a guy that's going to step up and match him if you're going to try to take a series from Florida State. And Morningstar just couldn't do it. And I think that's kind of the issue there too. It's like, we've talked about Wake Forest. Like, they've always been known to have these dominant arms, and they haven't really had that guy this year. And I don't think last year they really had that guy that was kind of at the top of the rotation and kind of the horse that they could kind of lean on every single weekend. And so I think that's going to be the big question mark for Wake Forest as we kind of continue into ACC play, is can the pitching step up? Can they be good enough to get them some series wins? And I kind of worry about the Wake Forest staff overall.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I've said it before. I think that Florida State has one of the better lineups in college baseball when they're hitting, and they've just started to pick that back up. And Miles Bailey is a big part of that. But there's so many other guys in this lineup that when they get going, they're going to be really tough. And if you're getting that performance from Wes Mendez on a Friday, it's really hard to beat them. And you're going to get Trey Beard on Saturday. It doesn't get easier for ACC teams through the rest of the weekend, especially against that lineup. It feels a lot like it's coming down to Florida State and Georgia Tech for which of those teams is just going to be able to go through ACC play. And I think that we think Georgia Tech's lineup's a little bit better. And I think that maybe Florida State's pitching is just a little bit better. So it'll be very interesting when we get further down the line to see those two teams when they match up later. Let's move on to another ACC series, Notre Dame and Louisville. Notre Dame puts up a 10 spot in the 4th on Louisville. Jason, this Louisville team feels broken. Like, this is a team that everybody had like near the top 10. This is a team that returned a lot of talent. The offense is there. They cannot pitch their way out of a wet paper bag right now.
Yeah. I mean, I know Zion just got back, and I know like they're trying to get healthy and they're trying to find their way around some bumps in the road. But giving up a 10 spot in 1 inning, like it's one of the things where it just kind of becomes almost mental at some point. It's like, yeah, it's not as though you're letting go of the rope, but it feels as though you're letting things snowball. And I think they just kind of need to have one of those meetings where it's like, we need to go into a game. We need to go pitch by pitch, inning by inning, and be more methodical with our work. They've still got a ton of talent. It's still early. Game 1, like, it happens. But we said this, I think, on Monday. It's like, hey, LSU fans, don't be worried. I think it's now to the point where LSU and Louisville fans, you can be worried.
Start to worry a little bit.
You're about a third of the way through the season. And I know it's just the beginning of the non-con, but I think once you start to get into this volume of games, you start to notice tendencies. And is it a tendency that leads into kind of what you are as a team, or is it something you can turn around? And I think like letting things snowball, if you have that as kind of your MO, it almost where it's like, what lead is big enough? And you know, if there isn't a lead that's big enough, then it's kind of like, well, how many times are we going to win 2 games in a weekend? And then everything just begins to kind of like next step. And I think that's hard to turn around once you kind of get on that kind of momentum. And not that you can't, a very good team, tons of talent, but it's just kind of one of those things. It's like once you start to, you're playing Go Fish. Once you look down at your hand, you got 40 cards. Like it's hard to get rid of all of them.
And if Jason,
go ahead.
Yeah, Jason, to your point, like this felt like the game for them to get back on track. I mean, you got Raydell out of the game in 3 innings.
Jack Raydell out. Yeah,
really quickly.
Who's been phenomenal.
Unbelievable for them. If you told me that he was only going to go 3 innings, I'd tell you that Louisville really beat them up. And the 10 spot, I would like to tip the captain Notre Dame because it wasn't just a 10 spot. They hit 2 grand slams in that inning, which is unreal. So, I mean, just a bizarre game across the board. But yeah, like if you're Louisville, that's the one you needed to get. Like you had your shot to beat Notre Dame, where it felt like Notre Dame is going to win a lot of games on Fridays, and you're not really sure what they're going to do the rest of the weekends. Like that was the shot, right? Like you wanted to walk away maybe potentially with a 3-0 series win to kick off ACC play, and you drop game 1 in a 14-11 barn burner.
Yeah. It's a rough one if you're Louisville, because you look back and you go, hey, we knocked out the Friday night ace that's been the ace in this league basically, and then we can't go get that win. It hurts, and they're going to have to find themselves, and I believe that they will. You know, I know we talked on the Monday show, and I said, hey, they're the team that could be the dark horse of the ACC if they figure it out. They're going to have to start figuring it out because the ACC season goes pretty fast here in a very short time if they don't figure this thing out here early. So lots of time left, again, lots of talent, but it is time to start looking at each other and going, hey, we got to figure this thing out and get some consistency, especially on the pitching side. Virginia Tech at Virginia. Virginia Tech 6, Virginia 11. AJ Gracia, big home run in the 6th to lift Virginia up. Jared, this is a big win for Virginia to continue this thing. I mean, Virginia Tech looked like they were toe-to-toe with them all the way through that game until that Gracia home run. I think we might have lost Jared here. Maybe the moving around there. But yeah, it's a big win here for Virginia. Jason, you want to add in on that?
No, I frankly, and I'll be transparent on it, I didn't watch this one. So Jared, you're back. Take it over.
Jared, you back for the Virginia talk?
Am I back?
Yes.
Back.
Am I actually here?
Yes.
Okay. No, I was going to say that the questions around Virginia in the preseason were around the pitching staff, right? But I don't think that we gave enough credit to the hitting. We've known Virginia's been a good hitting team all year, but they absolutely throttled North Carolina last weekend. And then the offense looked again as good as they did last weekend, this weekend against Virginia Tech. And they just kind of pester pitching staffs, right? They run up high pitch counts. They're able to put the ball in play. They have power. Like top to bottom, this lineup is very, very, very good. And I just think that's going to carry Virginia all season long. As long as they can get their starting pitching to give them 4 or 5 innings each night, they're going to give themselves a chance to win. And the bullpen hasn't been terrible for them, but I just do think that there's enough firepower on this offense for Virginia to kind of carry them and keep them in the top 25 all season long.
Yeah, and they continue to find ways to win. Like, find ways to win. It doesn't matter how you do it. Go out there and win games. Like we talked about how it was ugly for Florida to go get that win against South Carolina. Still a win in the books, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. Like, yes, even if you're playing your worst baseball maybe, but you go get a win, that's what matters. And Virginia's done it not with their worst baseball. They've been playing pretty good. But getting those wins in ACC play is a big deal there. Big Ten, USC, the only remaining undefeated team. Mason Edwards has just been a stud. Like there's no way to put it that he's just been straight up a stud. Friday night ace for them. Now he did finally give up a run, but they did win 15-1 in that game and run ruled in 7 innings. Huge for USC. Like we talked about, the offense maybe not there. There's clearly something there. And I mean, it hasn't been great all season, but they're still undefeated.
Yeah, I think I said it on Monday. Like this offense is good enough for what the pitching staff is. And last night being the anomaly of their season so far, blowing the thing open, scoring 15 runs. But they've usually been a team that is kind of 4 runs. Like they're winning games in dominant fashion with 4-1 scores. Like if you haven't watched them, you're like, this team can't be that good, right? And like, they really are. Like the pitching is unbelievable. And yeah, like you said, Mason Edwards finally gives up his first run of the season, raising his ERA to 0.3. So he's really getting up there now. Saturday is just as good, right? Like you're not taking a big step back for them on Friday, Saturday. It's almost like they're walking into a weekend, every single weekend with 2 Friday night guys. It's going to be really tough to beat them in a 3-game set. It really is. Like you have to take Friday, like really, to have a chance. And it kind of seems like that's not possible with, unless you win a 1-0 game kind of deal. But they look really, really good. A ton of credit to them because, quite frankly, I wasn't crazy high on the Trojans coming into the year. We talked about it in our Big Ten preview show, and I'm eating the trash on that one because this team is really, really good. I had no clue that what this pitching staff was going to be with what they lost last year and unbelievable player development that's taken place over the last 12 months for that program.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thought the pitching staff was going to be this good, but they're like one of the only teams in college baseball where you go, their Friday and Saturday guys are going to go out there and throw 6-7 innings, and it's going to save the bullpen for Sundays. That's trouble. That's trouble for anybody in the Big Ten that they're going to face, like especially if those guys can go deep in the game, and then all of a sudden they're not having to go down to 11, 12, and 13 arms. They're throwing 6, 7, 8 arms on Sunday, which is a big difference when you're talking about overall. Like the talent-wise, you don't have to get into the depth of USC's pitching. They're able to do it with their top end guys, and that's a big difference there across the board. Let's go to Texas A&M and Oklahoma. Texas A&M 7, Oklahoma 8. Jason, big come from behind win there for Oklahoma. That they needed that, and it was a big thing for them.
I think Oklahoma, you have to be a little worried about Johnson, Cam. Yeah. I think he went like 2 innings, had like 6 or 7 walks. I think it was rough. I think that's always been kind of the question is like, can he throw it over the plate? And the game really slowed down a little bit after the first because both of them had crazy firsts. Yeah. But to have that kind of strife, to where the umpires are trying to, stage everybody up to win on a Friday against a really good Texas A&M team, like a really good Texas A&M team. That's a really good sign for Oklahoma.
Yeah, big sign for Oklahoma. You love it. Again, wins matter, and when you open up SEC play with a win, especially at home against a very good Texas A&M team, you got to feel really good about yourself. And you didn't get a great performance from your Friday night ace, who's been really good. The last couple outings, not so much, but I still think that he could have some flashes of greatness, but that was a big win for them to do it, win their Friday night ace, didn't have a good game.
Yeah.
Michigan at UCLA. Will, I'll let you talk about this one so you get some positives, right? We're going to talk about the positives, the teams that you did pick out well. This UCLA team goes out there, 15 hits, 3 for Rock, but no home runs. A weird game for them. But the 15 hits, I mean, they just outclassed Michigan at home.
Yeah, this was a true death by paper cut game. I mean, only 3 extra base hits for the Bruins, which I don't know how many games this season you're going to see them get double-digit hits and only have 3 extra base hits. And they really lit up Cade Montgomery, who has been really solid this year for them. He had an unbelievable year at Utah Tech last year, comes into Michigan, has kind of slotted in with Tate Carey as a really good 1-2 punch and 10 earned runs off of him in 3 2/3. Like, yeah. and it's one of those things where I think a lot of people will look at that and be like, why would you not take him out of the game after, what they did? But he was pretty good in those middle innings, right? Like he got roughed up in the first. He kind of, I don't want to say cruised, but no damage in the second and third. And then UCLA erupts in the fourth for 6. So a really impressive game from UCLA, knowing that like they don't have to rely on the long ball. Like another thing that you can add to the list. Oh yeah, we can beat you with 15 singles. Like we don't have to have, Peyton Brennan and Rock Chalowski hit doubles and home runs because we're going to have so many guys on base. It's not going to matter. Every hit's going to drive in multiple. And Logan Redmond was really solid again. Again, I don't think that he is the, super regional game 1 guy that's going to go out there and give you 7 scoreless against no matter who's out there, but he's going to give you relatively the same thing every single time. And it's huge to lean on. And I feel like that's pretty indicative of this whole UCLA staff. I feel very similarly with Michael Barnett. Like, again, not going to go out there and strike out the world, but you know exactly what you're going to get every single time. And that's huge for an offense that is this good because there's still a higher ceiling, right? Like, what you're going to get every time. You're going to get 6 innings plus. You're going to get a handful of strikeouts, not a lot of runs given up, maybe a handful of hits, leave some guys on. But just a very good team win against a Michigan team that I was high on coming into the season. And while they've been on the roller coaster again, like it seemed like last year they were a big roller coaster team. This year seems very similar, but nonetheless, a very solid win for them.
A season ago, this UCLA team would be at this kind of game and they would have found a way to lose this game, or they would have found a way to be inconsistent with the pitching staff. Like that's how it felt. Now it feels like they just have the stability where they know that they're going to go in and win these games. Like they didn't score a run after the fourth. They didn't need to. It's like, yep, that's it. We don't need to score more runs. Like we're good. We're just going to go out there, play good defense, and we're going to go pitch well. Logan Redmond, again, if you're going to get 6 innings out of this guy and he's going to give up 2 earned runs maybe a game, that's going to be enough for UCLA to win most ball games on Friday. And it's really good performance. Like, yeah, he's not blowing the doors off people. He's not being that Friday night ace that you're afraid of, but he's really consistent and he's going to give you the opportunity to win every single Friday. So I love what he's doing for them. TCU at Arizona State, 5-4. Arizona State had a chance, Jared, to tie this thing up in the ninth. The sac fly looked like it was going to be there, and then the play at the plate, like he was out, but it was a really close play. How do you leave Harrison though sitting there in the on deck circle when you? I mean, it's a tough call. It's bang bang at the moment, but that was not a deep fly ball. That was like a 150-foot fly ball.
No, I feel like you can't send him there, right? Like that's, I mean, I guess you're just trying to test it. It's a hard thing as a third base coach to figure out. It's like if you don't do it and it looks like it's a bad throw, and then next thing you know, everybody's like, oh, why didn't he send him, right? So I think like there's no win there as a third base coach in that situation. But like you said, Landon Harrison's on deck. He's been the hottest hitter in the Arizona State lineup, and it's like you leave that opportunity missed because you got doubled off at the plate. But one thing I'll just talk about too is just the pitching matchup that was happening in this. Mason Brassfield versus Cole Carlin. Both guys just give up 1 earned. Carlin strikes out 11. Brassfield strikes out 8. I mean, we talked about in the preseason, like Jake McCoy is probably the best left-handed pitcher, college pitcher for the MLB draft. I think Cole Carlin is now pushing Mason Edwards as like those two are like the 1-2 in terms of lefties in college baseball for the MLB draft. Carlin's been absolutely fantastic. There was questions on like, would he make the transition from the bullpen to the rotation and still have the same stuff? Stuff's been there. He's been incredible all season long for this ASU team. And I think the positive you're taking away of your Arizona State, you were in this game the entire time. You had multiple chances to win it, right? And TCU has been without Lepore. They've kind of been struggling in general. Like this is a good win for them in terms of finding a positive, right? You're playing a strong Arizona State team who's beaten in Oklahoma, who has some really big wins as you kind of kick off Big 12 play here. I think both teams have to be happy. I mean, Arizona State's not happy with the outcome of the game, but you have to be happy with the performance you got from your team to just have this game be that close. And we've talked about it in the other series, but I think we come away like both these teams are pretty good teams.
Pretty good teams.
Yeah.
Like that's the takeaway. I'm with you. And it was a great ball game. It was late for a lot of people that are on anywhere but the West Coast like me. So I was getting to watch that game at normal time, but it was a great ball game. And we don't want to talk too much on it. We don't know anything about Brunson.
That's what I was going to say. Is there an update yet? Nothing.
There hasn't been a single update yet.
He was carted off though.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I saw that.
They tried to walk it off for a minute and then it was no longer. So it doesn't
on that
look
play
great,
on the play left, I know we want to. That was who was that? Was it Colton Griffin? Because I think he pinch hit, and then they put him in left for that. So I think as a coach, you kind of like when you go into a half inning, you look at your outfielders. Mm-hmm. Generally, your right fielder's one with the arm, your center fielder's your athletic one, and your left fielder's like, where do we put him? Let's just put him in left field kind of guy. And not only that, but he's a pinch hitter. So I agree. You want to look at the scenarios, but also it's like, if you got an opportunity to score, and I know like that was not a deep fly.
That was not a deep fly.
But it's one of those things where I kind of get it. Get it. Like you got someone who it's always they say in baseball when you go onto the field, the ball finds you, and the ball definitely fouled Griffin. So part of me gets it. If I'm the third base coach, I'm not losing sleep over that one, frankly.
Yeah, it's just a tough one, right? And it was very close play at the plate. Like it was a close play. It was right there. They challenged it, of course, and it was called safe or out at the plate, and they remained it as out at the plate. It could have gone either way. Yeah. Let's talk about Southern Miss. And I know, Jason, your Arkansas State Red Wolves, man. They beat them 8-5 at home. Aiden Houseworth, 3-run double there in the 7th for the Red Wolves proves to be the difference. Like this was a very good back and forth game. And then he hits that 3-run double there in the 7th, and Arkansas State never looks back.
Three things on this one, and I'll move on. First, Silva is legit. Arkansas State head coach. What they've done, a turnaround. That was, I think, their first win for Southern Miss ever, right? Because they just join the Sun Belt like not long ago. So I think this is like one of their first wins for Southern Miss. So what he not just like from like taking a team in the middle and bringing them up. He's taken a team from the cellar and he's brought them up. So incredible job by that. Second is Southern Miss, you're fine. What you have to realize is Arkansas State's a really good team. Like everyone's like upset. It's a Friday night. You're on the road against a good team. That's just baseball. And like Southern Miss had a huge bases clearing double and like the seventh. Sometimes you just get that hit that really puts up that crooked number and it turns what's a super close game into not a super close game. So that's just the way it is. And the last thing is midweeks just aren't as important as the weekends. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like you can do all of these great things in the midweeks, but it's what do you do on the weekend? What is it Friday versus Friday? And it's great to see wins versus like Mississippi State and Ole Miss and Alabama. Those are phenomenal wins. But at the end of the day, like, what are you doing Friday versus Friday? And right now, Southern Miss Friday versus Friday, probably the two toughest Fridays they've played, they've lost. Now, clearly, Flora, one of the best pitchers in the country, that makes sense. Most people are going to lose against him. But then what's after that? Baylor maybe is their third hardest Friday. So it's kind of like you want to give Southern Miss all of their dues they can, but you also have to say, like, what are your Friday games and how are you doing on those? Because it's great to beat teams when you're going up against their 7th through 10th pitcher, but when it's 1 versus 1, how are you doing? And right now they're 0-2 in those 1 versus 1s and kind of like marquee matchups. Now, I'm not saying Baylor's not a marquee matchup, but I'm also saying Baylor's Baylor. So, yeah. As someone who went to Baylor, I can say that.
It's a great transition for me, Jason, because I'm going to talk about West Virginia beating or losing to Baylor 6-7. I'm also going to mention Kansas goes down to Texas Tech and loses 4-11. Indiana goes down to Oregon, and that's a 2-3 win for Oregon. Big win for Oregon again, getting off the schneid there. Boston College at NC State 2-4 in that one there. Let's talk about UT Arlington 15, UTSA 11. UTSA a top 25 team. We talked about their issues possibly on Friday night. Will, this was a tough Friday night for that staff, and now it does not set them up very well for the rest of the weekend, giving up 15 to UT Arlington at home for UTSA.
Before we jump on that, Will, did you have something to say on Southern Miss? I felt like you had something to say.
Sorry,
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I did. My biggest thing is, like, I think this loss becomes more of an anomaly for Southern Miss in the long run. You're not going to see a lot of games where Camden Sundstrom gives up a 4 spot in less than an inning. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he threw in that midweek too. He's been throwing against those premier.
Been throwing a lot.
They throw their best pitchers on the midweeks. I did a midweek analysis. Southern Miss plays their starters more than pretty much any other. That's why they dominate. It's smart. That's why they're number 1 in the RPI right now, because they game the system. The RPI doesn't differentiate if it's a weekend game or maybe like that win versus Alabama at Alabama. I think it was. I can't remember where it was.
That's Southern
like
Miss.
that's like that. Oh, is that Southern Miss? That game meant like far more than playing at Arkansas State for an RPI. So it's smart. Like game the system.
Yeah, but and even to that point, like they've been using him a ton. He's been throwing high leverage on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and you're not going to see a lot of games where he, gets touched up like that. And again, they got the big hit, right? You had the bases loaded, the clearing double against arguably the best reliever in the Sun Belt right now, if not the best. I think today's going to be a good bounce back. You get Graydon Harris on the mound. It's going to be a really fun series the rest of the way. And again, Arkansas State is one of those teams I think a lot of people are finally waking up to. I think right now is like the confusion state for Arkansas State. Like, is this team actually good? Like they've got some big wins. Yeah,
they're good.
They're for real. Yeah. I think a lot of people are realizing like, okay, yeah, this team is legit. But we'll jump forward back to UTSA. Kalen Dygert looked pretty good again, right? Like he had the crazy game against Arkansas. Goes 6 innings of 3-run baseball. I mean, this this was really a lot of bullpen runs. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really watch this one that much, and there's not going to be a lot of teams that are going to beat UTSA over a 3-game set. So to go out and win Friday is huge for UT Arlington. UT Arlington also has some really big wins this season.
They've been pretty good in some big games, yeah.
Yeah, I believe they have wins over TCU and Arkansas, so they have played well against some sorry, Jason. Against some
no, everyone has wins. So does Arkansas State. Yeah.
Ton of hits, ton of walks. I mean, this is just a really bizarre game. UT Arlington draws 14 walks from that UTSA pitching staff, and we've talked about it before. Like, Orlovsky's out for the year. That's a big loss for them. Say. Like, I think at this point, like Jason said, like, you're at the point in the season where those things are going to start to show a little bit more. That volume in games is starting to ramp up to the point where you're in conference play. You're rolling out these guys. Like, roles are starting to get set in, and I think yesterday was kind of indicative of, okay, like, we might need to figure some things out in the top end of the pitching staff.
Yeah, it's starting to get to that point where you start looking around going, okay, this is why we find ourselves. That's why we said this is the big week, right? This is SEC opening week. This is a lot of Big 12 opening week, but it's a lot of these smaller conferences too, where these guys are like, okay, what are we actually set in? What is our team going to look like? What's our Friday night going to look like? And you're starting to see more of these guys. Jared, Alabama 4 at Kentucky 7. Kentucky's for real. This is a very good baseball team, and this was no Tyler Bell, Kentucky also. So we don't know why he was out of the lineup, but he was out of the lineup there. Could be precaution. We haven't heard any news on that one. But a big win for Kentucky at home to open up SEC play against a very good Alabama team who took the lead in the first.
Yeah, I think I saw something today that he's out today as well. So maybe it's just a lingering injury. Probably came back too soon, and they're just trying to play caution with him because, like, your first week in SEC play, right? You don't want it to become something significant, and then you got Tyler Bell gone for the entire year. So hopefully he's okay, and that we'll see him back on the field soon. But Kentucky continues to win without him, right? Like, I mean, just having Tyler Bell in that lineup is just a huge plus for them, but they keep finding ways to win. I think Ethan Hindle doesn't get enough credit. He's been kind of a stalwart in the middle of this lineup for Kentucky and has continued to mash. And the pitching staff has been absolutely incredible for them. Like, Jackson Jelkin gave up 4 earned yesterday, but he's been lights out for them for most of the year. They've just really, really kind of come up and shown that they can play. We bumped them out of our top 25, I think, for 1 week, but then brought them right back in because they continue to not really give a reason to bump them out of the top 25 just yet. And I think that if they can get a series win over Alabama, who's another fringe top 25 team, I think it's a good showcase that they deserve to be in this top 25 and will continue to win games. I mean, it's going to be, when they get the tougher SEC opponents, I think we'll kind of really see Kentucky's true colors. But Nick Mingione has got a really good team rolling right now, and there's really nothing to knock them at this point.
Good pitching, solid performances, like, from a bunch of different guys. Like, this team can pitch better than I think a lot of people are perceiving right now. And that's really kept them in baseball games because the offense hasn't been explosive, but they've done the little things right, and they've gone out there and won baseball games. And that's kind of how Nick Mingione coaches. He's like, hey, we're going to pitch, we're going to play defense, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're going to go win ball games that way. And they've done a very good job of it. Big opening win at home for this Kentucky team. Oregon State travels down to San Diego. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to add Connor Madison. He was one of our bigger portal pickups for Kentucky that we had listed. And I think he went to, really with most of Sunday or Friday baseball in the SEC is, if your starter gets to 5, how do you get through the rest? And that's what we saw with 4? Texas. That's what we saw. Yeah, that's what we saw with Texas A&M. That's what we saw with Mississippi State. Like, pretty much like every single time, it's like once you get past the starter, how do you finish it off?
Yeah,
and have a bullpen that can go 3 2/3 with no earned run, and have a guy like Connor Madison who can go 2 innings with no hits allowed. Like that provides a ton of value for a team, especially when you've got the starting pitching that Kentucky has.
Yeah, him and Jack Bennett, another portal guy. He's been absolutely lights out of that bullpen too. I think he's been mostly the closer for them, right?
Yeah, they've been very good. I think that what they're doing pitching-wise is very good. I think that plays. I think that they're just going to continue to be in games, and that could easily pile up to 17, 18 wins by the end of the SEC play because you're always in baseball games to give yourself an opportunity to win these games, and I think that's a big thing.
One other guy I wanted to mention, because he's going probably tonight, is Ben Cleaver. He's got a .64 ERA. So you get a win on Friday night with Jackson, and then you go to Cleaver, and the guy's been absolutely lights out. So, like, having that 1-2 punch for them has been awesome.
Big. Oregon State, like I said, traveled down to San Diego. 4 home runs for the offense, so it's starting to come around there. Easton Talt hit one. Josh Proctor, Vasquez, and Craig all hit bombs. Dax Whitney, ho-hum, 5 innings, 0 earned runs, 9 strikeouts. Just another, he had 3 errors himself, and he's like, it's okay. I messed up, but I'm going to pitch my way out of it. Big day there for him.
PFPs.
That is crazy.
when you're 6'8" and throw 100 miles an hour, you don't really have to worry
He's
about
just trying to help the opponent out a little bit. He's like, you know what? Like, striking too many of you guys out. Let me throw this one in the dugout.
But a good game there for Oregon State to go win at a tough San Diego place. Let's talk about 2 games real quick here before we get into some weekend stuff, or the rest of the weekend stuff. Oklahoma State 11, UCF 12. Oklahoma State was winning this game. Will, like, at what point do we just go, what is happening? Like, UCF, good baseball team, at UCF tough, but Oklahoma State was way up in this game, and then they gave that all back and ended up losing this one.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Oklahoma State, quite honestly, and credit to them for coming back, because UCF put up 11 runs between the 4th and the 5th innings, and there's actually a pretty cool stat going around college baseball Twitter right now, like the kill shot stats. Those are kill shots, right? A 4 spot followed by a 0, 7 spot followed by a 0. Like, statistics tell you win that game a lot, right? When you do things like that. I don't know what Oklahoma State is, and Oklahoma State's in trouble again now. So Hudson Barrett goes down last week. He's out. I don't know what the injury is or how long he's out, but he is out for at least this weekend and maybe the foreseeable future, which is a huge blow to them, because really he's been the one guy in that.
He's been their consistency.
It's been unbelievable, and he was my pick for transfer of the year coming in this season, and it was really fun to watch him kind of get back to what he was and bumping him into a starter's role, which was a little bit new for him, and just punching out guys left and right. Really, really fun to watch. But that's a big loss for Oklahoma State, and they used a lot of pitching yesterday. I believe they used 8 pitchers yesterday.
Yeah.
So UCF also used a lot of arms. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is a bizarre game. It's a true barn burner. It's going to just keep happening. Like, I think the rest of the series is going to be like this. Now, is it going to be 12-11, like really close games? I'm not really
Sunday
sure.
Probably will be.
Yeah,
Sunday will be 30-32.
Yeah, they're going to get called by time.
Managers.
Yeah, they're going to be like, we only get 5 innings in because of time.
Yeah. That curfew because they got to catch the plane ride home. Yeah, no, that Sunday is going to be rough.
Yeah.
But just another question mark there for Oklahoma State. But big win for UCF again. Big 12 win. You'll take them however you get them. These league wins are big, especially going out there and getting that first one at home.
What is the Big 12? What is besides a massive question mark?
I don't know. BYU took the opener against Cincinnati, and they had been struggling, and they go to the opener against Cincinnati.
Kansas State put up a 20-piece on Houston, like a Houston team that lost 2-1 to Oregon State. Yeah, and Kansas State put up a 20-piece. It was 20-8, and that was at Houston, if I remember correctly. So
Houston was a fringe top 25 the first 2 weeks. And
Houston
we're like, oh man, how good is this
Houston
team?
Is good. D. Kennedy is going absolutely nuts for Kansas State. Kansas State if Kansas State can figure out some pitching,
if they can get some pitching,
they have the lineup to make some noise. Yeah. Talked with some people in that program. For me, I think the Big 12 is a big murky mess. But I do think West Virginia, Kansas State are kind of separating. So now it was great to see. I would have said maybe Arizona State. Like, we'll see what happens game 2 and game 3. But for me, basically anyone can win the Big 12. That's probably my synopsis of this.
Even
West Virginia lost the opener at Baylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Montesa did not look sharp. I think he walked 7 yesterday.
That's back-to-back starts where he wasn't super sharp. Yeah.
And the previous one was against Columbia, right? So, I mean, against Baylor's got a good offense. Yeah. Their pitching staff is not very good. Yeah. But Baylor does have a good offense.
Ballinger got his first home run, so there's some positives there.
There's positive.
After they lost,
all right, Canes Cats Heat. Close your ears, close your eyes. You don't want to hear any of this.
He actually just asked a question.
Yes,
you should put it up.
Miami, 0 runs, 2 hits. One of those coming from transfer Alex Sosa, our dude. Man, the question marks are all over the place. This Duke team is not necessarily crushing teams, and they win this one 4-0. Aiden Weaver, though, has quietly gone 4-1 for Duke. He's been really good. 6 innings pitched for them, 2 hits, just 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. But the fact of the matter is, it's time to start hitting the panic button if you're a Miami fan. Like, this lineup was supposed to be what the positive was, right? They're just going, this is the lineup that's going to go hit. This is the lineup that's going to keep us in ball games. 2 hits is never going to cut it in any game, I guess, unless you're Florida at home against South Carolina. But it's just not going to usually win you a baseball game, and Miami loses this 1-0-4. Jared, we talked about this. I don't know. I think that this is just starting to become a trend for Miami where they are lost. They don't know what they are. They look like they were a top 25, maybe even a top 10 team the first 11 games. Since then, they're not even a top 100 team.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about in the preseason, like the offense is what we expected this team to kind of carry this team, and they had 2 hits yesterday. So I mean, if that offense isn't going to show up, and you really need the pitching staff to step up, and Siskar wasn't bad. Like, he went 5 innings, 3 or 9 Ks, and he's been good most of the season. But I just don't know what you're getting if this offense isn't going to produce for you, right?
2 hits is never going to do it. That's just never going to do it.
No, and Aiden Weaver,
Unless
again, he's
Florida.
been great for Duke. Yeah. I mean, we talked about Aiden Weaver. He's been great for Duke.
Yeah.
And so they kind of ran into a guy who's just been pitching really, really well. But still, we talked about the reason why Miami was ranked in our preseason top 25 was because of the offense. And you expect them to step up against even guys that are Friday night aces. So they're just not doing it right now.
Yeah. And the Miami bullpen was great. Like, they did the job. And you got 3 innings against Duke's bullpen, who hasn't been stellar, who hasn't been good. And you go out there and just goose egg it like nothing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jason. I'm just
I think if you would have looked at Miami's schedule when they were 12-0, or I can't going into that Florida.
Yep.
I think you would have been like, where will they be 15 games from now? Because you had Boston College, then you had Duke, then they have Creighton. Like, they had 3 weekends in a row where it was like, okay, what's our floor? What's our ceiling? Like, our ceiling is clearly, 9-0. Our floor is maybe, let's say, I don't know, 6-3, maybe 5-4. Now it's like, okay, we need to get some wins. I don't know if they started like sipping the Kool-Aid or the rat poison or whatever you want to call it, but this was definitely not the expectation.
Yeah. I thought going into April, this team might have been staying undefeated. Like, that's how good I thought that they were out before that Florida game. And then,
because the pitching was really good, like the hitting was on a completely other level. So, I mean, again, like Duke brought in Moose. Like, you brought in a pitching heavy coach. Like, they're gonna have good pitching, but still, like, these next 2 games are gonna mean a lot for Miami season because, Creighton's not a bad team, but you should win that series. And so, but if you can't scrap at least one of these over the next 2, like you're staring down an opening ACC of 2 and 4, and we've been talking about for half of this so far is how good the ACC is. Yeah. If you start off 2 and 4, it's going to be really hard
with seemingly tougher opponents on the horizon, Jason.
Exactly.
Seemingly tougher game coming up.
And so if you're in that bottom half, even lower, third of the ACC going into your heart, and those guys are going for those top 8 seeds, you're going to struggle to host. And if you struggle to host and you're in the Southeast, now the nice thing is they're actually seeding correctly this year. Yeah. So maybe they won't go to maybe they won't go to Florida or a Georgia. Like, they'll actually go to a team like they should be going to, but it'll be really hard to host if you don't turn it around here in the next.
But they're also not a top 32 team right now. I don't think that they would be one of the 32.
Talent wise, they are.
Talent wise,
yeah, and they do have some get right games coming up, but you can't lose your current get right games as well.
So I know we're getting close to time here, guys. We're over our hour that we try to stay at here. I'm just going to go really quick, guys. I want to know what team that looked good for you. Will, why don't you start us off? Team that looked good this weekend or on Friday?
Arkansas State. I think simple as that. That's a huge program win, and they've already had some huge program wins this season. So it's been a really fun team to watch so far. Yeah,
I love that. Jason, team that looked good for you.
Oh, man. I mean, can I be frank? I don't think a lot of teams really, besides maybe Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech for me is the only team right now that'd be up and down. They did all of these things great. I watched a lot of SEC ball yesterday, and it felt like all I was watching was like someone putting up 4 fingers and someone going to first base. A lot of walks, but I should have got it more simple, but I'll stick with Georgia Tech.
I mean, that's a good answer. They've won 2 against a top 10 team like that, and done all the things right. Jared, teams look good for you.
Yeah, I'm going outside the top 25 here. Going to go with the Cincinnati Bearcats. They get a 9-7 win over BYU last night. They're 15-5 overall. They've got a win against a ranked opponent this year. Team ERA at 3.84. Quentin Coates has got 21 extra base hits. I think 13 of those are home runs. 7 of those are doubles. He's driven in 35. Like this is, we talk about Big 12 being wide open. I think the Cincinnati Bearcats could make a run at this Big 12.
I think that's what shocked me so bad about their loss on Thursday to BYU. Yeah. This is a team that's hot. This is a team that's very good, kind of flying a little bit under the radar, right on the fringe top 25.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that one. I'm going another fringe top 25 who's in my top 25. UCSB, Jackson Flora just continues to just be a dude. 7 1/3, 11 strikeouts, 2 hits, 1 walk. Their last loss was Southern Miss. Like this team only has 2 losses, both the Southern Miss. They continue to be just a bear here on the West Coast. Love what UCSB is doing. Love that Checkett's out there, going out there and getting wins.
UCSB better be in our top 25 next week.
They're in my top. They've been in my top 25 now back-to-back weeks. This is a very, very good baseball team. And with Jackson Flora on Friday, they're going to be real hard to beat on a Friday night. That's
because, I mean, they could be – I think this is big for them to try to get one of those 14 through 16. Because right now, RPI-wise, they're hosting. And now that's going to take a while to, like, get there. But if they're not in one of those 14 or wherever they're at, and they're maybe like an 18, they could head all the way over to like a Georgia or, you know, it's not of the past where they would have gone to an Arizona State or an Oregon State and they wouldn't have had much. They could be traveling like thousands of miles even after a really good season. So it'll be big for them to keep winning, because if they don't, just because the way their schedule is, any loss is going to really hurt them, which is sad to say because that's just baseball. But any loss is really going to hurt that.
Yeah, they got to continue series wins, especially in the Big West. I think that's a big takeaway for them is series wins on the Big West, and especially Friday night continue to be great. Final thoughts, guys. I'll let you start, Jason. Final thoughts before we head into the Saturday.
Throw strikes. That's my final thought.
Throw strikes wins ball games. Throw strikes, make people hit. Will, final thoughts.
More baseball. I got nothing. This is a crazy weekend. This is a nuts weekend.
It's only Friday. We get 2
Yesterday
more
was
days
just
of this.
ridiculous. I'm really excited for today.
I cannot wait. Jared, final thoughts as your welcome back show here, week 5.
Yeah, just more chaos. That's all I want to see. Chaos the rest of the weekend. It's going to continue. It was chaos Friday. Hoping the rest of the weekend. I hope all the teams that lost on Friday win today, just so we can have Sunday just be like all kind of takeaway games for everybody.
Is that for your pick'em to make your pick'em feel a little bit better?
No, my pick'em's done regardless.
Give me the pick'ems on the line too. Make it fun.
By the way, I did not realize these were weekend pick'ems. So
yeah, that was my fault.
I was texting Jared. No. It's not your fault. It's mine, because I was talking with a Florida State guy on Twitter.
Pray for Miami.
Prayers, 10 Hail Marys. Because I was like trying to like tell him why I thought Florida State may struggle against Wake on Saturdays, because like, oh, you know, blah blah blah, and then Jared was like, it's a weekend. I was like, oh shit, like what was I thinking? Because I was like, Mendez is gonna dominate, and then how does Trey Beard do like game 2? Because they'll probably want to get a get back game. Wake Forest is good, but never mind. I'm Wake Forest, like, make a believer out of me.
Yeah. I like it. There's an opportunity still. I mean, dropping one game does not end you for you.
No.
My final thoughts are I'm going to travel over the mountain through the snow to go watch the Ducks play. Get to watch some baseball in person. So I'm excited for that. Going down to Eugene and watching Indiana Hoosiers take on the Oregon Ducks. Thanks again for joining us, folks. We'll be live on Monday night for the Top 25 show. I believe Will and Jason will join me again for that one where we release our top 25. If UCSB takes care of business, expect to see them in our top 25, hopefully. And then, of course, we have the Thursday night show. Might be doing Wednesday night shows. We'll let you guys know as that one comes out. But thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you guys again on Monday night.